Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video on the Arrowverse and, well, yeah, DCTV and the Arrowverse. So, with DCTV's reign on the CW coming to an end at the end of this year with season 4 and the final season of Superman and Lois, we've had quite a few seasons, which obviously means quite a few storylines that have played out throughout all of these DC TV shows, or what some would effectively call the Arrowverse. Obviously, the debate for what is and isn't Arrowverse is always going to be there, but we are going to disregard all of that for this video. And in this video, we'll be going over the best storylines from the Arrowverse, not the best season per se, but just the storylines in particular. But for the most part, for most of these, it is just really the specific season, because in a lot of the shows, it was just one storyline throughout the entire season. But for some it isn't, so that is also included. Now, this isn't picking the best storyline from every show, it's just the best storylines throughout the Arrowverse. So there could be a show here that has 4 options, there could be a show that has no options in this list. It's just how it is, the top 10 storylines as a whole throughout the Arrowverse. So yeah, we're going to be going over the top 10, obviously in order from 10 through to 1, but we'll also have a bit of an honorable mention section where I'll mention like several or so, ones that were good, but not good enough to be in the top 10. But of course, throughout the video, be sure to let me know in the comment section down below your opinions. What are your favorite storylines from throughout the entirety of the Arrowverse? You can do a top 10, maybe just a top 3, top 5, maybe just number 1. Just pick your favorite. I know, let me know in the comment section down below how you would rank it, as well as any opinions on my opinions and my rankings, because I'm sure you might be like, you idiot, why is that 3? That should not even be in the top 10. You might disagree. I'm not too sure. You have to let me know in the comments. And of course, if you're going to enjoy the video, want to show support, drop a like. Takes 2 seconds. So yeah, as I said, let's start at 10 and go through to 1. So number 10, this is not an entire season. This is literally a specific storyline. Arguably, it is technically an event, a mini crossover event, though it's like minor when it comes to the crossovers in regards to the stature of the people that cross over. And at number 10, that is Armageddon from the beginning of The Flash Season 8. Now, going into this, I was a bit like, it sounded like a bit of a gimmick, almost to like make up for Season 7 of The Flash, which wasn't very good, to give us this sort of event thing. But this ended up being, I think, the best part of Season 8, though I think The Flash Season 8 is legitimately a good season of television. I think this is the shining light right at the beginning, and I think it's mainly because it caught me by surprise, because I wasn't necessarily anticipating it to like an extreme level, saying like, oh my god, this is going to be amazing, but I was still looking forward to it, even if that was mainly based off like curiosity. I'm like, what's this gonna be? But I think the twists and turns with this storyline, from whether it's like just throughout episode 1, just wondering what the hell was going on, all the way to like the episode 4 parts as well, and even parts of episode 5, even though I think the 5th part of this event is a bit of like doesn't necessarily have to happen. They probably could have finished in episode 4, but it was still okay, the 5th episode. But I think as an entirety, I think this deserves to at least be number 10, at least for me. I know I was like weighing it up, and like, I think this deserves to be there, because I enjoyed Armageddon quite a lot, and I remember some of my favorite parts of doing YouTube throughout the entirety of the Arrowverse, and specifically The Flash, was actually around this Armageddon period, funnily enough. Just because I think I was just very active on it. I'm not too sure, but I just remember having a lot of fun with it. At number 9, I have the prison storyline from Arrow Season 7. Arrow Season 7 as a whole is not that great of a season. It really, well, actually, it's an okay season, but it really falls off at the end. Like, it's like, I don't even know, like if there was a graph, might try and do like a graph on the screen at the moment. It's like, hey, this is the beginning and here's the end. It ends pretty poorly. And it's just, I don't know if it's because they had to like change some stuff up. I'm not too sure, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about the prison storyline. The prison storyline is really weird that it works, and it was so good, because Oliver is not Green Arrow at all throughout it. It's him in prison, though he still gets to be a bit more brutal, because everyone knows he's Green Arrow at this point. So he doesn't have to hide it. He doesn't have to hide that he knows how to defend himself and can fight and everything like that. And I think everything that was going on, not only within the prison at the time, but also within or outside of the prison in just Star City, and how the rest of Team Arrow was dealing with things, I thought was really well done as well. But then, of course, this does pay off into some stuff later in the season, which I thought that specific episode, the Star City Slayer episode, which, carries on from the prison one, was really well done as well. But I think this Arrow prison storyline was really, really good at the time. And when I look back on it, I'm still like, yeah, that's a pretty damn good storyline. At number 8, I have from Legend of Tomorrow Season 2, The Legion of Doom. Look, going into Legends Season 2, there was a lot of promise because Season 1 for me ended very strong with Legends. I thought that it struggled in its first half, but Season 1 I think finished pretty strongly. I'm like, okay, it has a good little hook there with the Justice Society of America being teased. Let's see how Season 2 does. And I think the entry point for Season 2 kicks off really well, but I think from beginning to end, the Legion of Doom storyline just was very entertaining, even when it brought in like the Black Flash aspect. But of course, it did help that you had very charismatic villains from other Arrowverse shows, more specifically the Flash and Arrow. You were able to use Damien Dark, Reverse Flash, Gorilla Grodd, Malcolm Merlyn, and then of course they brought back Captain Cold as well. And I think it was almost like a greatest hits thing to an extent, or like an all-star team of villains, just because it also was able to redeem Damien Dark and put him in a setting which worked. But I think this is clearly the Legend of Tomorrow's best storyline, let alone best season, so I think it clearly deserves to be there. At number 7, I have from Stargirl Season 1, the Injustice Society of America, or the ISA arc, or the Injustice Society arc, whichever way you want to put it. Obviously, this took up the entire season and also involved some flashbacks and everything like that. And I think is pretty much the perfect way to kick off this show. And I think it works really well in regards to not only the threat of the group as a whole, but also the individuals within it, and wondering exactly who was in charge, what was going on, any sort of twists and turns. And I think it also allows the actual characters of the JSA to build up really well with the counterparts from the ISA, or the opposites from the ISA as well. Really well done. I don't think I have to really speak. If you've seen Stargirl Season 1, you know this is a really well done storyline. Obviously compacted down to 13 episodes, though it is the entire season. But yeah, I think it has to be in this top 10. It has to be. At number 6, I think some people might have this higher if they did a top 10, especially if they're in my boat where you've seen all the shows and stuff and all the storylines. But I feel like this is where it should be. And at number 6, I have Tal-Rho, or Tal-Rho, like that was the villain, like the Superman and Lois Season 1 storyline. I don't know necessarily what people call it. I'm just saying Tal-Rho because he was the antagonist throughout that arc. But I think obviously Superman and Lois Season 1 is a great first season of television. My only gripes with this storyline are really that it feels like it ends in, I think, episode 13. I think there's 15 episodes in season 1. Anyway, it feels like it finishes like 2 episodes before the season actually ends, and then we just get these random 2 episodes chucked on the end. And I don't say random as in like, oh, they have nothing to do with it, but it feels like the storyline should have maybe ended in episode 13, I think it was, but then we get like 2 or maybe it was 3 episodes more. I can't remember what it was exactly, but really from beginning to end with this and the mystery around, like, it's actually, well, I guess it's spoilery, but it's actually Morgan Edge and he's, Tal-Rho, and he's got this backstory, which is a bit of, not really a parallel, but almost like an antithesis, I guess you could say, to Superman's upbringing and his experience with Earth and his experience with humans and him fitting in, but Tal-Rho being this outsider and everything like that. Great storyline. It's obviously like a very, I guess, cliche in regards to like the opposites. Like, you have like not only, the villains have similar power, or the villain and the hero have similar powers, but obviously like their origin and stuff is similar in setting, but completely different in regards to how it plays out. But it's a great storyline. Then, as I said, my only gripe is really that it feels like it ends a bit earlier than it actually ends, if that makes sense. And number 5, once again, this could be an option that people have in their top 3, but I just, where my choices lie, it falls outside of the top 3 by a couple of spots. And at number 5, I have Zoom, or the Earth 2 arc, or whichever way I want to put it, or the Zoom storyline from the Flash Season 2. I think this, arguably, in regards to all these storylines in regards to length, it's probably the best season in regards to, or the best storyline in regards to just jumping in and watching one episode, because all the episodes individually are just amazing. I think they're really well done, and obviously anything that has Zoom in it is obviously going to be very entertaining and all that stuff. Once again, it's probably not as similar to the Tal-Rho situation, but I think the Zoom arc just falls away a tiny bit at the end. It just sort of loses its appeal and doesn't really fall in line with what I thought the rest of the storyline was building up to in regards to it. It just felt like something that Zoom wouldn't do. It didn't fit the character exactly, but it's still great. Like, I still think the season 2 finale is really, really good, and it's still a decent, bow on the storyline. But obviously, like it was like non-stop, pretty much from beginning to end, which is a pretty decent achievement. Like it wasn't like Zoom went away for 5 episodes or something. Might not be there for an episode, but his presence was still felt. So though it's outside the top three, it's still a really good storyline. Obviously, it's in the top 10. And number 4, another Stargirl season. Once again, you might disagree, but I agree because it's my list. I have the Ultra-Humanite season, which is obviously Stargirl season, or the Ultra-Humanite storyline, which is of course Stargirl season 3, which took up the entirety of the final season. I think this is probably the best murder mystery of any of the shows that or any of the storylines that have been done throughout the Arrowverse that sort of revolve around that. Of course, sometimes it's not a full-on murder mystery in regards to like from beginning to end. Like some just involve like, okay, like who did that, and then like it reveals who the villain is or something like that, or it plays into the villain reveal. But this was like a full-on murder mystery that then plays into the villain, and there's even a twist on that villain. It kept you guessing. It was entertaining from week to week. I wasn't exactly sure where the storyline was going, and that's a compliment. It wasn't like, oh, this is confusing, I have no idea what's going on. You were following it, but at the same time, you were like, it was like, it felt like you're almost like the blind following the blind or something like that. You weren't exactly sure where we were going, but you were along for the ride, and you were like, I think this is going to work out. And I think the reveal of everything that goes down in the final handful of episodes for this storyline are really good. Obviously, it's a bit disappointing this was the final season of the show because it probably shouldn't have been. Probably should have got at least 2 more seasons or something like that. But I think they left the best storyline for the show until last, even if it wasn't meant to be the last. But before we get into the top 3, I have 4 honorable mentions that I thought I'd be, it's worth mentioning because it'd definitely be storylines I think that some people might be thinking of that aren't going to make this list. So the first one is from Legend of Tomorrow Season 3, which is the Malice, whatever we're calling him, and the Totems arc. Really fun season. Not as good as season 2 of Legends or that storyline, but still a very enjoyable season. Honestly, it'd probably be, I think out of these, it might have been number 11, I think. So it's probably just missed down. This is probably the one that just missed out in the top 10. So if I remove one of these ones that's in the top 10, the Malice Totems one, I think, might have slotted in. From Supergirl Season 3, I have the Rain arc. Of course, it's got one of the better opening halves for an Arrowverse season, but it does fall off in the back half for obvious reasons we've talked about before. They sort of rewrite it, apparently. So yeah, it just sort of falls away, though it's still a solid season. It just falls away at the end and just isn't as good as the first half. So the storyline sort of falls out because of that. The next is one that maybe a lot of people don't have, but I have the Road to Crisis in Arrow Season 8, the first, well, I guess the entire season, really, leading up to Crisis. I love the first 3 episodes. Of course, I have some issues with where it goes after that, but I think there's still enough quality in those first 3 to 4 episodes for it to be, an honorable mention here. And the final honorable mention is from Supergirl Season 4, and that is the Agent Liberty arc. I think this is a really well done arc. Obviously, it was a bit controversial at the time because America loves to be fighting each other, but I don't know. But I thought this was a really well done storyline. I think I can't remember the actor's name. Sam Witherton. I don't know, whatever his name is. I can't remember. I'm forgetting his name, but I think he did a really good job as Agent Liberty. And I think all the other like storylines that go around this are really well done as well, but not enough to be in the top 10. But speaking of top, let's get into the top 3. So at number 3 from Arrow Season 5, I have Prometheus. Now, this was, I think, pretty much all these top 3s could be swapped around and people can have them different spots. But I think these are the clear top 3 storylines from throughout the Arrowverse. Prometheus obviously really steps up in the back half of Arrow Season 5, which maybe is probably why it's, not 2 or 1 for me at the very least. But I think all the twists and turns in this storyline and not exactly knowing where things were going. And I think a lot of people thought like, certain people were going to die. Like, we weren't too sure. Like there was a lot of twists and turns in this arc. And obviously the fact that it connected back to season 1, we were all wondering because it was all going to be stuff that we didn't see in season 1. So it was like stuff happening between episodes or whatever it might be. So the unknown of this storyline really kept us captivated, and I think they really nailed it, especially leading up right to the finale, which I think is one of the better finales in the entirety of the Arrowverse. And number 2, just missing out on number 1, is from Arrow Season 2, the Deathstroke arc. And the reason that this gets the up on Prometheus, I think, is because of the flashbacks. Of course, you could say Season 1 and the fact you meet Slade Wilson in Season 1. You get him, like, you can see the change in character, but even if you just specify it down to Season 2, the flashbacks really help. in regards to fleshing it out. And of course, just I feel like there's just more of an dominant presence, if you want to put it, with Deathstroke in season 2. I think they're close. They're definitely close, but I just think Deathstroke gets a bit on top because of the flashback side of things getting added on. But I wouldn't really be insulted if someone was like, hold on, I'd put Prometheus above that. I'd be like, fair enough. And at number 1, it should be obvious from the Flash season. From the Flash season 7, it's the Force. Of course not. It's not the Flash. Oh my God, that was awful. From Flash season 1, it's Reverse Flash. Now, of course, you could add in the fact that you get Reverse Flash bits after season 1, but I'm compiling it just into season 1. And I think the Flash season 1 is just a perfect season of television, which obviously falls into the storyline Reverse Flash and everything that plays in around that, the reveals, the twists, the turns, the what the hell is going on here, and of course the finale as well, which in itself, you know, if you add an extra 30 minutes on it, it could just be like this ridiculous movie. So once again, we've talked about this enough. We all know why it's number 1. It's just extremely well done. Obviously, they put so much effort into that, and it's, you know, it's just really well done in regards to the writing side of it. But of course, you get like the iconic performances from Tom Cavanagh as Reverse Flash, and of course Grant Gustin as Barry Allen, and everyone around it as well. Just works as well as you can make it. There's no really no hiccups. If there's any issues people have, it's for stuff that they tried to adapt into seasons after it. They tried to play off the end of this season. But there's no blame on season 1. That's the blame on those future seasons when they try to adapt certain things from this, or things leading from season 1. So yeah. But thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, it'd be awesome if you could drop a like on it to show support. Let me know in the comment section down below your various thoughts on this. What are your rankings? You can leave a top 10, as I said, top 3, top 5, maybe just a number 1. And also let me know your opinions on my rankings, whether you agree with them or not. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, and I'll catch you guys later. Goodbye.